trying to share this to Balisong freaks, and unfortunately, I have no fucking idea how to. Shit's changed, man. Facebook's fucking definitely not as easy as it once was. That's for damn sure. Fucking, fuck do I share this shit, man? Tap the show button. Why do they have to make this shit fucking retarded? No. What the fuck, dude? What about this shit? Nope. Fucking A, dude. I have no idea. I wanted to share this to my main page as well as Balisong Freaks. I don't know if that's gonna happen. So, for those of you who have been paying attention, obviously I have an addiction to microtext now. 20 years ago, when I got involved, well, was it 20? I don't know, it was like 15 years ago or something. When I got involved in Balisong's, the Balisong, the microtech that was available at the time was like state of the art, and people were bashing the shit out of it. It's a microtech tech, so they had the Tachyon 2, they had the Tachyon 3, and at the time when I got involved, you couldn't find a Tach 2, you could only find a Tach 3. So the aluminum handles, the blade was heavier than the handles, so you couldn't do chaplains with it. Chaplains is where you end up like this. Actually, you know what? Let me lead into it so you can see where that becomes of use. All right, so you go into a chaplain, right? And with the Tach 3, you could not chaplain because the blade was heavier than the handle, so it would fling out of your hands. The other thing that people were complaining about at the time was not knowing if the tang pin was going to destroy the inside of the handles. I'll show you what I mean. So, Tachyon 3, squeeze the handles together. Bloop. Fucking beautiful looking blade. But we had tang pins and the aluminum handles. See that cup? That's where the tang pin slides in. So people people at the time want to spend $321 on a knife, which is what Blade HQ's price was, on something they didn't know if it was going to last. And now, I don't know what it is, but for some reason there seems to be like some kind of a mad calling for these things. And every now and again that happens. It doesn't happen to every knife, it doesn't happen to every knife maker. But I've always kind of had an eye for Microtech, and I've never really, I guess I was so blinded by the rest of the knife community that I didn't really get the chance to focus on Microtech. I mean, I had a Halo 5 at one point. I've had other Microtechs, I just don't know exactly what, way back in the day. And like, I'm just now getting back into them, and I don't know what my obsession is, but there's something about them that just has a more of an evil look to it. More of a, I want to say the word like a gothic type of look. Like, I always carry an OTF on me, and today we're carrying the Combat Troodon Hellhound. There's always something about these that just, I don't know. They're cool as shit, you know what I mean? I've got my Glykon. This is another one. There's just, I don't know what it is about this one. I think it's very rare that I get a knife that has any coloring to it at all. But I think it just pairs well. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. Black does too. Black pairs very well with jewelry. But I've been making some videos. When I say we, you guys got to remember, I am completely insane. Well, you probably guessed that already. But anyway, I've gotten into this whole sharpening bit, and so previously I would have to like legitimately send my knife off to have somebody sharpen it. Because when you have knives like that, you can't just take them into Ace Hardware and have somebody sharpen them. Like they have no idea what the fuck they're doing. If it's anything beyond a case knife, I wouldn't even trust them with it. What up, Jess? So I would have to send the knife off. Now I'm getting into the sharpening bit, and I will tell you that the Work Sharp that I bought, it's like a guided system that's designed to, like, I guess, take all the bullshit out of sharpening. It's total garbage. I know a lot of people love those things, but when compared to using that in stones 100 times. 100 times out of 100, I would pick stones. I would never use a guided system ever again. Will I sharpen my high-end knives? Probably not, because the only one that I'm EDCing is going to be the Glykon. I've been EDCing the Glykon for approximately a month, and I've already scratched the fucking handles, so it's too late. It's a $600 fucking knife, and now it's going to get EDC'd every single fucking day. So, I will sharpen, so previously, D2 tool steel. D2 tool steel, the Benchmade D2 tool steel is completely different than the Ozark Trail D2 tool steel. It is next to impossible to sharpen D2 tool steel on regular stones because of the hardness. It's I think Benchmade's D2 tool steels typically runs around 61 or 62 HRC, and Ozark Trails is like 57. I know those numbers seem very close, but that is a massive, massive difference between hardness. And 57 is just trash. Like HCR13 MOV, I think goes up to like 59 or something. I don't know for sure, but I know it's above 57. 57 is absolutely garbage. So anyway, I was told, because when I was purchasing stones, they were telling me to buy, what the fuck was it called? Shaptons from Japan, right? Shapton stones from Japan. Those are like top of the line. They're fucking beautiful. They're generational stones that you can pass down. That's how nice these stones are. So, unfortunately, before I got a chance to purchase those, I had a guy ask me. He was like, "Well, dude, like, what do you plan on sharpening with those?" And I was like, "I don't know, D2 tool steel, CPM 154, S35VN, S30V, fucking LMAX, Bowler M390, and like everything that I was naming off." He was like, "Dude, what?" Like, he kept shaking his head, no. I was like, "What the fuck, man?" And he's like, unfortunately, he's like, "Dude, if you're gonna be sharpening super steels, you need to purchase diamond stones." And as soon as I heard that, I was like, fuck, this is gonna be expensive as shit for me to get into. Turns out it wasn't. You do get what you pay for, though. I will say that these, so I use like this hexagon pattern. I'll show you here. These little cocksuckers, right? So they're like a hexagonal pattern. There you go. Now you can kind of see a little better. And I don't know how long these are going to last. They're extremely thin, right? But the whole set was like 35 bucks. And I think, so main objective is to maintain or achieve. I can achieve a razor's edge on 400 grit stone, right? The highest this goes up to is 3,000 grit. In order for me to achieve the mirror image that I'm trying to achieve, I'm gonna have to purchase an 8,000 grit stone. I don't even know if I can find those. I've looked on Amazon, I've looked on Google. They'll say things like number 8,000 instead of 8,000 grit. They're avoiding that word. And I think that they're avoiding that word because they're trying to confuse people into thinking it's 8,000 grit when it's actually not. And then they'll say something like extra, extra fine grit stone. That doesn't give me the fucking answer that I'm looking for, because somebody's idea of extra fine could be very different than somebody else's idea of extra fine. So like an idiot, I went out and purchased a 10,000 K and a 60,000 K stone, 60,000 grit stone. Unfortunately, it's completely fucking unusable. It's like, this is how small it is. And in no way, shape, or form, let me see if I can get the light on there. Would anybody use this, right? So that's the reflection of the stone itself. The green side is 10,000 grit, and as you can see, it's all like chipped at the side and shit. Yeah, that'll fuck up your apex. And then that's the 60,000 grit. So I wanted to put like a mirror image on the blade, and I was gonna practice on HCR13 MOV because it's the shittiest fucking steel that I have, and which is not garbage, but it's like, yeah, it's better than Case, it's better than fucking CRKT. I mean, it's better than a lot of shit, but Anyway, my Work Sharp, I'm probably just gonna give that away, to be honest with you. Like, I'll never fucking use that thing ever again. Like, such a waste of fucking money. The thing that sucks ass about the Work Sharp is, as thin as that stone was, that's actually, I think they're even thinner. Little guided rod things, they're thin as shit. So the problem is as you're stroking downward with the guided system, you're not able to get from the end of the knife all the way to the front. That's the problem with those stones that I'm having, because my blades are a little bit longer than what most people typically carry on an everyday basis. I do have my ZT-0450. I'm probably not gonna EDC this one. It's a little too pretty to be EDC. Let me get that fucker in the light. It's, there's just, I don't know. There's, I mean, I feel like zero tolerance 100% gives Benchmade a run for their money. And when it comes to Benchmade, I used to have I had a Crooked River, I had a 940 Osborne, I had 3 different bug outs. I still have a Benchmade 62. I've had many Benchmade 62s. I've had many Benchmade 51 Morphos with fly tie scales. On my 62, I had squiggle scales. Squiggle scales were like, I think they were like $400 at the time or something. I can't remember what they were, but they were not cheap. But the problem was, so the Benchmade 62, right? I know, you're seeing a lot of scratched up fucking shit. We're not gonna fucking talk about that. So the Benchmade 62. This is the D2 tool steel that I was introduced to. This was the first knife that I had ever had D2 tool steel on. I think back in the day they were selling this for like $349 on Blade HQ. And I think at the time, the D2 tool steel was considered like one of the top of the line. I can't even flip that knife. It's so obnoxious. The top of the line, one of the top of the line steel. I don't know if Rex 121 had been invented yet. I don't think so. I definitely know that MagnaCut had not been invented yet. But Bowler M390 was out there as well. The Austrian company, Bowler M390. So the 62 was the first one. The second D2 tool steel was a 51 Morpho. The 51 Morpho. It's old. This thing is fucking beat. And it's been used, as you might imagine. So, I'm missing a screw. Was it D2 tool steel? Yes. Yes, it is D2 tool steel. So, I was expecting, based on all the other garbage that I had owned, that I was only going to be, I was trying to justify at the time purchasing a $320 knife. I know that today $320 is nothing, but back in the day $320 was kind of something. So, hell, I think back then tires were like $100 a piece, so $400 you could put a brand new set of tires on your fucking car. That long ago, that's what we're talking about here, when $100 actually fucking meant something. Now it's like a $5 bill. But anyway, so, and that's not Trump's fault, by the way. That's Obama's fault. Remember that. So anyway, I was trying to justify purchasing a $300 knife when I had Spyderco. I had the Spyderco Resilience. I had the Paramilitary 2, the old liner lock Paramilitary 2. I want to say it was S30V or S35VN or something. And that's how I knew that there was a difference between 8CR13 MOV and D2 tool steel and S35VN and S30V and all this other shit, all these other different steels. That Spyderco was what opened my mind to that. Because at the time, I was one of those people, I had no idea. I thought steel was steel. I just knew that, you know, there were shitty knives and then there were good knives, but I didn't realize that, Jesus Christ, man, I'm getting all these I got 17 notifications. I guess I do. Damn. Now I got 24 notifications. So, anywho, so I didn't realize that, yeah, the blade lasts for a long fucking time. There's no way to sharpen it without diamond stones. I didn't realize that. And I was EDCing these things. I am touching the blade. It needs to be sharpened. I don't flip this thing very much. It's more of a photographical knife, I think, than it is a knife that I would actually take out and flip. I'm not a fan of the way that those flip. They're lightweight. At the time, they were designed for, I think, speed flippers. That was Benchmade's way of saying, like, hey, we really fucked up with the 6X line, so here's a light knife and see how it goes. They still suck. Benchmade has been trying to become a top of the line premier company ever since 2012 when the 4X line was over with, and they've never been able to catch up. I've had many 87 Ti's. I had the Necron. I've never flipped an 85. But the blade looks shorter than the 87 Ti, and so do the handles. So I can't imagine shortening the 87 Ti and making it flip better, or, you know, it was already, you know, it was a well-balanced, the 87 Ti was a well-balanced flipper, but it was, everybody agreed that it was way overpriced at the time. I think it was like right around 600 bucks. What the fuck? People just keep sending me photos and shit. What the fuck's going on? So anyway, she's fucking blowing me the fuck up. What the fuck is going on? Okay, well, I don't know. I'll look at them in a minute. So anyway, the 87 Ti, so when it was released at Blade Show, they had Faulty Ply flipping it, who was an astounding flipper. That guy was like one of the reasons why I wanted to flip, watching that guy flip. Oh, okay, Jess. I didn't know. My messenger was blowing up. It was telling me I had like 27 missed messages. Not from you, from probably a shit ton. And I was like, what the fuck is going on, man? No, nobody ever wants to talk to me until I go live. And then they get on here and tell me to fucking shut up. But anyway, so the 87 Ti was kind of like to justify, to bring back the titanium ballet song. to the community, and they advertise it as making a bell sound, and it does. It does have certain channel titanium handled Balisongs do have that bell sound, but they were wanting an astronomical price for it. And on the secondary market, I shit you not, it was totally normal to see brand new $680 Benchmade 87 Ti's that had barely been flipped selling for like $300. Brand new in box. That was like a normal thing because people hated it. You won't be disappointed. All right. Is it a picture of me in that show me your butthole t-shirt that I used to wear all the time? But so anyway, the bell sound. It depends on what brought you into the Balisong world. To me, it was meditation. The way that I was drawn into it was, and I'm not talking about somebody that just learned a thumb roll or knows how to chaplain. I'm talking about somebody that has a routine that they're adding tricks into. Once you've reached that level, now you're able to understand what I'm talking about. But the whole idea was the way that I was led into Balisong flipping was you have to pay attention to the blade, right? Because if you don't, you're gonna get cut. So if you can think of your mind as like a room, it's filled with like all these different stresses. There's fucking obligations, there's debts, there's deadlines, there's your mind is filled with all this shit. When you're flipping, that blade demands your complete attention. And if you don't pay attention to it, it will get your attention one way or another. And you don't realize that as you're flipping this, all of those things that are in your cluttered mind, your cluttered room, are gone. And it's just you and the knife. And that is the only escape that we have. Harley riders try to say that all the time, like when they go out on their bike and they're all on their own and it's nothing but them in the road. It's kind of the same feeling. It's I don't know how to describe it, but other people, when they see that, they're like, oh man, you're a fucking lunatic. I know, I am. And in 2008, I was declared legally insane by the state of Florida, but that doesn't matter. We're not talking about that. But anyway, the bell sound. Okay, the bell sound. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess in like movies, let me grab something to kind of give you guys an idea of what we're talking about here. So the bell sound. I am exceedingly comfortable with this knife, actually. I don't know. So the Flytanium Talisong Z, that was the first one that I was flipping. That is like one of my top favorite knives ever made. The only other one that is my favorite knife is the BRS Replicant. So the bells, it's very pleasing to hear. Certain, and the 87, I don't have an 87 Ti. They are not worth what people are selling them for. But kind of a similar bell sound. People were hoping that was going to be the case for the Titanium Hom Basilisk. But it ended up not being a channel style bally. It had back spacers and there were slabs of titanium. Still a beautiful knife. Fucking gorgeous. Like everything that Hom has ever made belongs in magazines. I mean, it's just, I don't know how to define it, but I've always been a huge fan of them. I've had titanium. I've had two different titanium basilisks. a G10 Basilisk, a carbon fiber Basilisk, not the Tempest, I think, but the Spectra. It had like an alternate type of blade on. I traded it for something, and I can't even remember what the name of that one was. It might have, I think the Tempest was a, what do you call those fucking things? A trainer. It was an expensive trainer. It was like an $800 trainer back in the day. Yes, that was a good catch on that one. So there's another way chaplains come into play, but they also come into play during scissoring as well. And you couldn't do that with the Tachyon 3. So, for some reason, now they're like $600 fucking and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? Some of these knives that I grew up with, I'm looking back and I'm like, holy fuck, I can't believe I sold that. Like I bought two 0 tolerance 0456s for $99. They're almost $1,000 now. I can't fucking, if I would have just hung on to some of this shit, dude. I don't know, man. I keep always going towards a new knife, and sometimes new knives aren't always better than the older ones. I don't know. But, you know, there's different angles to these knives. Like, some of them have a bell sound. Some of them are astronomically, beautifully balanced. Like the Maxxis Covenant, for example. That's one of the best balanced knives that I've flipped. And I'm sure there's a shit ton out there, like the Medford Viceroy or whatever it's called. I have not flipped one of those. Am I willing to spend $800 on one? Probably not. Would I buy one for $300? Probably not. You know, unfortunately, I got a bad taste in my mouth with the Praetorian when it came out, and what he was charging for the Praetorian, and then seeing them on aftermarket, seeing them on secondary markets, and people couldn't even give them away. I mean, they were like, and I think a lot of that had to do with, at the time, the warranty, which is, if you touch that fucking knife, if you unscrew one screw, Greg Medford knows about it, and you just voided your warranty. So people were kind of like, shit, you know, like it's you know, it's an expensive knife, but if you need to work on it, guess what? You're gonna fucking void your warranty. So you have to ship it out to Greg Medford, and that was just rubbed me the wrong way. I know things have changed, probably. The warranty process is probably a lot better. I haven't done any research into Medford. Overbuilt knives are not my thing. I do like large knives, but I don't want them, you know, an inch in thickness. I don't need to chop down a fucking tree, you know what I mean? I just need something to slice with, you know. So most of my collections are gonna be, I would say, EDCable knives. I want to do some stuff on gravity knives, because that's another one of the hand gestures. What the fuck? Anyway, that's another one of the knives that fall under the automatic knife law of 1950. And you know, if it's illegal, I want everything to do with it. You know, I've always been that way. The thing that's holding up, this is a backdrop for like when I'm doing videos on my table. It's literally being held up with a stiletto. No shit. I just fucking stick it right there in the fucking wall. So, hang on. Gravity knives. Don't have too many of these, but I've noticed that, and I'm not talking about the Re8 EXO, because the only reason why I'm not really that interested in the Re8 EXO is because now they have like some kind of a safety switch or some bullshit that they put on there for. You're not buying a gravity knife for safety, pal. Yeah, you know, that's not how it works. So this one, you just pull that back, blade falls out, click it into place. This is a very, very small gravity knife. This is not, I don't know. This is like maybe something a homeless guy would have. I don't know. It doesn't say anything about what kind of a steel is on it. Totally unlisted. And it says something about turn on reactions. Well, you can kiss my ass. So, you know, this is, I don't know. This is like a Chinese clone or something. Fuck if I know. But, I do want to do gravity knives and single action out the fronts. There's more than just Anthony Marfione's. This is a Halo VII, I think that's 4. Or Halo, this is a Halo IV. There's more single action OTFs. And I think that I think it would be cool to do like something on the deployment of these, because so basically what people say is like there's somebody's drunk uncle somewhere said one time he saw a guy put one of this up to somebody and pushed the button and it went all the way through. That doesn't happen. This is single action. If they're double action, they immediately fall off track when they hit something. Actually, I could probably just show you. As soon as they hit something, falls right off track. Right? So what do you have to do? You have to put it back in track to use it again. The single action OTFs will go further. They will. But they're not, again, they're not gonna, they might put you in the hospital, but they're not gonna kill you. They're not gonna go fucking 4 inches into your heart or, you know, anything like that. They're relatively safe knives. However, the blade shape does matter, and that's what I wanted to kind of do a video on. So that Glidecon is a spear point. This is obviously a Tanto, and then we have obviously if we're not going to use this in a video, I will find something else. We have a clip point. It comes down to this fucking needle, you know. It's just Anthony Marfione really knows how to make something fucking evil. He really does. There you go. So, for example, right now these are pieces of shit that never come out. I don't use these. I don't carry these. People don't even know that I own them because they're pieces of garbage. And I think this one was actually given to me. This is a Lightning OTF, right? This is some other shit. It's no brand name at all. Obviously, it's like some kind of, when I see colorful shit, I assume it's like a gas station knife. But we're spear point, right? Spear point, double-sided. It's not really sharp. I actually sharpened this one myself. And this one is kind of sharp, but I want to see like a penetration test. When these are obviously going to fall off track, but when you put this up against something like a bunch of paper plates and then you actuate it. See how far each brand goes. And everybody knows that like Smith & Wesson and Winchester are two gun companies that have no business at all being in the knife world because they're buying garbage from China and stamping their name on it and selling it, and literally the blade, the black blade of M&P or whatever, the first time you use it, it scratches the paint right off the knife. Like, there's nothing about those that are collectible, and they never will be. And they're pieces of trash. Even if you needed to use them, they're pieces of trash. They're garbage. But they do have, I think it's a Smith & Wesson single action OTF. It's like $40, right? I really want to like put all these little, I'm gonna call them gas station knives. They don't, obviously you can't buy these at a gas station, but I don't know what else to fucking call them. Put these through torture tests and just see which piece of garbage is better than the other piece of garbage type of thing. You know what I mean? That's what I want to do with those. But it would be cool to have different brands up against other brands. You know what I mean? Just to see, you know, if you're gonna buy a pile of shit, who's got the best pile of shit? You know what I mean? I think that would be cool. But, so, Chaplins, right? Ariel to Chaplin. Twirl. Let's do that again, because that's shit. God damn it. Chaplin. Twirl. Ooh. Not what I wanted to have happen, but it probably looked cool on camera. Now that I'm focusing on trying to do a scissor, I'm having a difficult time doing it. When you're not thinking about it, you do it a lot better than when you think about it. Oh, fuck my life. All right. Back into the groove. Fucking hate all you. Twirl, son of a bitch. Chaplin. Twirl. Fuck, bitch, dude. Like, I can scissor 10 times out of 10 until I'm trying to do that. And then I fucking fuck it up. So anyway, Chaplins can be useful. There's many routines that use them very, very articulately selective, and they really add to a routine when they're not being overused. Because I see a lot of people that I guess when they're freestyling, like, you know, I'm basically, if you've been paying attention, I'm basically fucking doing nothing with these, but you know, I try to, like, when I see other people flipping, if they're doing the same fucking, oh, look at me, I can Chaplin. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, bud, you know, like, there's There's a whole world to that knife that you don't even know. And that's what I think when I see them overused. But sometimes they're tasteful. They can be very tasteful. They're very flashy when done correctly. So like saw that, right? 0G, all right? There's more than one different way to chaplain. But anyway, so anyway, I don't know what the fuck else to talk about, but that's my plans for the future. I'm gonna make a video on these fucking shitty OTFs. There's knife companies that it's like against the law to have a gravity knife, so they sell them to you in pieces. I want to get my hands on one of those and put it together and make the knife that you're not allowed to own. You know what I mean? And just put it all together on a video like that. And torture test, fucking breaking the shit out of these, fucking taking those OTFs and just like ramming them into a fucking brick until the blade breaks or something. You know what I mean? Just to see, because I used to throw steel around for a living. I worked at Tampa Tank. I used to build bridges. I was a welder. That is not a bitch's job. That is, there's a lot of men that can't do that job. I'd say probably 90% of the men who are alive cannot do that job. Maybe men back in the 1920s could have done it, but everybody else nowadays is just a big fucking pussy. But so iron worker, basically. There's not a whole lot of us out there. Some of them do different things as an iron worker. Some of them are laborers, some of them are welders, some of them are fabricators. I was a welder, fabricator, and a laborer all at the same time. So anyway, that's the plan for the future. I'm gonna, basically what I'm saying is when I torture test these knives, I am going to torture the fuck out of these knives, and we're gonna see which piece of shit outweighs the next. But anyway, all right guys, I'm gonna pop off. It's been a long time since I've been live. I tried to go live in Balisong Freaks. Every time I go live, I try to put it in there, but now things have fucking changed, dude. I don't know how to do it anymore. I don't know. I just give up. I have no idea. But all right guys, we'll catch you later. Peace. Come on.